Some years back, I remember having a conversation with a friend in college, and you guys know how in your teenage years or your young adult years, you kind of stay up sometimes and have what feels like these really deep conversations in the middle of the night. And I don't know if they're actually deep or if they just feel that way when you're younger, but we somehow started talking about the things that scare us the most. And I remember vividly my friend telling me that one of the things that scared him the most was a velociraptor. Now, it cracked me up at the time because I was like, that's so random, right? Like a velociraptor. But he started talking and he explained, like, dude, do you know how fast velociraptors are? If you ever tried to run from those things and you were in a situation where you're in an open field or you had to try to get away, you're screwed. That thing's gonna rip you to shreds. And he was just talking about the mechanics of how velociraptors are so terrifying. And then it got to me and he asked me, all right, so what scares you? You're making fun of velociraptors. And after really racking my head for it, I've told him people. And I still feel that to this day, man. People and what we're capable of scare me. And this is the basis for Battle Royale, the classic novel, which turned into a manga, which turned into a movie written by Koushun Takami. It's an amazing read. It released in about 1999. And it's surprising to me how few people know what Battle Royale is, despite the influence that it has had on so much media. So many things are influenced by the original Battle Royale series written by Takami. Things like the Hunger Games series that blew up so much, even video games like PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty, all these Battle Royale games where you have a group of however many people stuck in an area and only one person is allowed to survive, how they have like different sectors that slowly begin to be closed off until eventually there's a point where a conflict is forced to happen. All of these ideas and concepts, at least to my knowledge, were things that originated from Koushun Takami's Battle Royale series, and it doesn't get the roses that it deserves. And that's why I'm making this video, to just put some more things in the ether about how good this series is, why it's worth reading, and hopefully in my little part of the universe give more attention to a piece of media and a person's work that absolutely deserves it. If I had to say what really makes Battle Royale special, it is the psychological element of what it goes into. So in a lot of Battle Royale type media, especially in manga and anime at this point, they never really take the time to explore the psyche and the internal workings of somebody's head who is forced into this sort of situation. And this is what I feel the Battle Royale novel and manga do extremely well. I believe that the best way to consume Battle Royale is the manga. It's for a variety of reasons, but the artwork and the intensity and the gore, to be quite honest, are what I feel set it apart from like the novel and the movie and everything. So I first was exposed to Battle Royale in my teenage years, right? Preteen and teenage years, definitely a time in my life that I shouldn't have been reading it. I certainly was not old enough, but I'm very much glad that I did, because it really formed my taste in manga, anime, and media in general. And it taught me a lot about what manga and anime could be. That is certainly not a kid's platform, at least all the time. I think that now so many people are exposed to shonen, like a lot of just shallower forms of media when it comes to manga and anime, that they start to think that this is what the whole art form is, and it's certainly not. And I take pieces of art like Battle Royale and try to expose people to these things, like the other videos you guys see on my channel of these lesser known stories and things that are like pretty out there that can be pretty dark and mature, but I like to put eyes on them because I feel like there's so much to be learned and gained from them, and also to show people that manga and anime, there's so much out there, and it's not just this shallow fan servicey type of medium. But going back to my original point, Battle Royale truly shaped my taste. Battle Royale, Berserk, and Ichi the Killer absolutely shaped my taste in what I found interesting in a story. Boy, what an entrance, right? But what I didn't appreciate at the time when I was younger was the psychological element of what the manga for Battle Royale provides. I was much more into it for like the adult themes, the goriness, the nudity, all the stuff that like, oh, I shouldn't be reading this, that like gets in a kid's head, that makes it interesting. That was where my head was at then. But coming to it a significant amount of years later, at the age that I am now, and I'm sure if I ever explore it and in years even later from this, that I might even gain something new from it. But exploring it now, what I really appreciate what the story does is the psychology behind it. That reading it now, the reactions of the characters are something that I extremely appreciate, because it's not your standard shonen fare of just the power of friendship is going to bring us all together and we're going to fight the system and all of this is going to turn out okay. Battle Royale is very real. It shines a light on the reality of human nature. When we enter into a situation where our life is on the line, when we're put into a situation of extremely high intensity, a lot of our morals, values, empathy, and care for others goes straight out the window, and we can do some monstrous and demonic things. Kind of going back to what I talked with you guys earlier about humans being my biggest fear. This is where Battle Royale comes in and showcases this. Kawada is a character in the series, and he talks to the protagonist Shuya and tells him the only reason that these games work is because of human nature. It's because of the fact that all of us are out for ourselves and our own self-interest that these games are allowed to be played. And let me explain the game, right? So if you guys are familiar with the Battle Royale scenario, and this manga in particular, there's a group of 9th grade kids, these middle school kids, who are taken on a class trip, but the class trip turns out to be a one-way ticket to Battle Royale Island. In the world that we're presented with in the manga, the state controls everything in a sort of dictatorship where things like rock and roll are banned and no anti-establishment sort of anything is permitted. And there's this program that goes on each year. These games are run that takes these kids, forces them into the situation where there's only allowed to be one victor. And this occurs by lottery, right? Each year there's a random classroom that's picked, and those kids are picked to be a part of the program. And it's shown on television and broadcast in homes for everybody to watch, bet on, and it's used as entertainment. And it's pretty sick. But we get a peek at the most recent class that was chosen to be a part of this game. And so they're on that way to the class trip, and then they're headed to Battle Royale Island, where they are told by the Mr. Kamon, who is one of the coordinators of the game, who's a pretty sadistic bastard. He's a sick son of a bitch. He's a really good villain because you hate him almost immediately. And he explains to them that these are the rules. This is what you're going to do. You are giving a pack with a random weapon in it. And as far as the rules go, there's just a few. At the end of the allotted amount of time, if not everybody on the island has been killed, or if there's more than one student left, everybody has a collar around their necks that's going to blow up and everybody dies. So you're forced to be a part of the game. And to avoid any sort of turtling or anybody that tries to keep themselves holed up for the duration of the game because they don't want to participate, different sectors are designated to be danger zones, and after a set period, anybody that's found in those danger zones will have their collar exploded and they'll immediately die. So basically the game is set up in a way to ensure that the students have to be in conflict, that there's going to be no working together, and that there's no escape off this island. If you try to jump into the water, you're going to be shot on sight. There's no escape, and these are the rules, and it is what it is. And anybody that wishes to live needs to make an enemy of every other classmate that they have in that class, and good luck to you. So just think about how horrifying of a scenario this is, right? Where you are told that you have to kill every person basically that you've been growing up with for these kids like 13 or 14 years, and that if you refuse to participate, you die, and their only chance of winning this is to take the life of those who have, some of these people may be your enemies, but some of these people are your literal best friends that you have grown up around for the entire duration of your life. This reality is played so realistically, where you have so many students who are in disbelief. Some of them are in shock. Some of them are crying in tears. Like, some of them think that it's a joke, right? And Mr. Kamon makes a couple of examples to showcase very early on that this is very much not a joke. Kills a couple of students in the classroom just to showcase that they're basically cattle, is how Shuya describes it, that they are here for entertainment purposes only, and if they don't play along, their life is completely disposable. I greatly appreciate, as an adult looking at this, showcasing the psychology behind what would happen in an individual's head placed in this sort of scenario, and the reality that most of us, when placed in a scenario where we are told that it's us against everybody else, and the only way to survive is going to be to take the life of others, or that there can only be one winner, this is exactly what you would see in this scenario. See, the game and the participants are basically divided into two groups, where you have some people that want to not play the game. They want to buck the system, try to get groups of people together to figure out how to survive, how to escape, because they feel like there has to be hope in some way to make it through this. And then in the other camp, you have the people that are playing the game. You have the people that basically have decided and realized the gravity of their situation, that there's going to be very little way that they're going to be able to oppose the state because of the sheer power and resources that they have. They are taking a look at their situation and have come to grips with the reality that if I don't do this, I'm dead, and I don't want to be dead, so I'm gonna do what it takes to get out of here. There are so many head games that get played, right, with friends using other friends' weaknesses or their relationship as a way to get closer to them, and then taking their life. You know, things about other people's personal insecurities come to light, and they use these insecurities that they have learned from years of friendship to play head games with somebody else, to maybe make them take their own life, or maybe to set up situations where they become mentally weak and they become easier to kill. You have situations where you have groups of friends pleading with one another, trying to stay together, doing things like trying to tell the other person that we can figure this out together. Like, there's got to be a way for us to make it through this. Apologies, guys, had to do a quick change of scenery. But back to what I was saying. The absolute psychological horror that these kids are subjected to it's really unfathomable, to be honest. And the manga gives us this reason that I like the manga so much better than the novel or the movie, is that it's able to exhibit so many emotions through facial expressions, through the thought process. Because with the novel, of course, they can give us insight into the kids' thoughts, unlike we can really get from a movie, because it wouldn't really be possible to get that much monologue or thought process from a movie. Like, it's just not the medium for that. But going into the other piece that I think the manga does well, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, is how graphic and gory that it is. And in a lot of other mediums in art, the goriness and graphic nature of some of the art can be played for shock, or just to try to get the audience's attention, and it can feel really cheap. But in Battle Royale, I feel like it's done so well because it exposes how brutal that this all really is. It also points a really bright light on the realities of human nature and how demonic and savage we ourselves can be when we're pushed to our limits. When our life is on the line, when we're put into extreme circumstances, a person can and will do things that they never thought themselves capable of. And the manga holds no punches with showing this. It may be the most graphic manga I've ever. No, I can't say that. It's not the most graphic because I've seen some pretty terrible stuff, but it's up there. Like it's bad, man. I will not sugarcoat it whatsoever. The things that you're going to see in this manga, if you can't handle gore, this is not going to be the story for you. But I do feel that it serves an artistic purpose. As far as my criticisms for the story, I think the main things that I have to say are the translation. The translation can be extremely sketchy. Like I'll try to put some panels up here of like some of the most egregious sections, but there are a couple of parts in this manga where I'm like, I know this character didn't say this, and just things that are wildly inappropriate in the sense that they don't always make sense for what's going on. So the translation can be weird in some parts, and the thing that I love is the background and how the manga gives you so much of the story of like the side characters, and like it gives you a reason to care about them, which is great. But this same strength can become a weakness because this happens a lot. It can kind of happen over and over again, and sometimes you can feel as though you have too much information for some of these side characters because you know, like they're either in the process of getting capped or they're about to get their wig pushed back, and you're just like, this character's dead, man. Why am I spending 12 pages on talking and figuring out like why this character loved to bake cookies? It can be kind of weird in that sense. But if you can get past like the wonky translation, the ham-fisted sort of character stories, and you can handle the violence, I recommend this manga heavy. Go and give this thing a read. Buying it is going to be rough because it is out of print, and attempting to buy even singles of this thing will run you a great deal of money, but there's ways to read it, right? So if you have any interest in psychological horror, if you have any interest in sociology, if you have any interest in character studies, if you can handle graphic violence and like this kind of thing, and you like mature stories, please take a look at Battle Royale. It's got so much to offer. It's so slept on, and it's an absolute classic that not enough people have read. I certainly appreciate everybody that's cool with me and continues to watch my videos. Let me know if there's anything that you guys consider a cult classic that not enough people have read, or that I should check out that maybe I haven't gotten a hold of yet. And I love hearing recommendations on these types of things, man. And please, if you enjoy the content, like and subscribe if you don't mind. I don't like asking that. I don't like e-begging and like that kind of stuff, but I appreciate everybody that messes with me, and like that kind of support goes a long way with me trying to better the channel and to grow so I can make better content for you guys. So I'm going to get ready to go. Thank you as always. I'll see you guys later.